technology and interactive communication, we have more democracy than ever before. People vote on who their favorite singer is. They vote on who should leave the house. They also vote on how much they like their prime minister.
She hid her baby's quit for all that
There have been two fascinating stories this week, and both really have to do with the power of the people. One is in the area of entertainment. We had all the business about Susan Boyle and the power the public had. The public suddenly knows everything about her life because of the technology that we have. And that was a lot of pressure, probably more than most human beings can bear. And as a result, there was a lot of controversy. Should we have delved into her private life? Well, she did volunteer to go on the show.
she's gonna be a celebrity.
That means somebody everyone knows.
Now we go to the world of politics. Gordon Brown. He also, by choosing to run for public office, he makes a contract, as all the MPs do, with the people. He says to the people, hire me, hire my party. Well, if these politicians want to be hired by the people, they have to be willing to go through the interview process. They have to be willing to answer questions. And if they don't like it, they don't have to take the job. You have a right to know how they're spending your money. And that includes expense reports as well as the budget. You can ask any question you want of the politicians because they want to work for you. And if the questions are too much, they should leave. Or maybe you'll just fire them.
Jerry Springer on his stage in the West End to our little stage here in Westminster. Welcome back to the programme. Good to see you.
And it's a great week to be here.
You've chosen a boring time to be in London.
Good Lord,
yeah. Fundamentally, do you think part of Gordon Brown's problem stems from the fact that he lacks electoral legitimacy in that he wasn't elected? He didn't get elected to being Prime Minister in the first place.
Yeah. In fairness, I'm not a citizen of Great Britain, so who am I to...
But you were born here, weren't you?
I was born here.
So you're allowed to talk.
Well, I left when I found out I couldn't be Prime Minister. But no, my thought is, and it's just my opinion of the system, is in America, we elect the president, we elect the congressman, and every 2 years, or the Senate every 6 years. So the decision of how long you last in office is always up to the voters. Yeah. What I'm finding different watching all of this week is all this discussion about the future of Gordon Brown. The people aren't voting on it. It's a number of other cabinet members, politicians that are going to decide.
It's the political elite that's still deciding.
Yeah, and you wonder why people don't like politics. Because right now, the average citizen is sitting at home and saying, what's going on with the economy? I may be laid off. What is my pension? What's the future of my pension? What's the future of my kids' education? Those are the issues that regular people worry about. And this is a great, fascinating inside politics discussion, but it doesn't affect the people.
All that could be resolved, as David Cameron says, Diane, by having an election.
Well, David Cameron would say that, wouldn't he?
And Gordon Brown would not say that.
Well, I mean...
That's Jerry's point.
Yeah, well, no, but it is a different system. And you can't necessarily draw the parallels. Personally, I think Gordon should have had the election immediately after he got.
Too late for that.
Yeah,
but let's not get carried away.
Constitutionally, he's entitled to be there.
Yeah, of course he is. And let's not get carried away by the point, because John Major and Margaret Thatcher and Tony Blair were all got rid of shortly after they'd won good election victories.
Andrew, we've been building up these election results this week to be the determining factor for Brown's future. Mr. Purnell has kind of thrown the spanner in the work now. Tell me, what is the significance now of these election results? We'll get the local ones tomorrow, the European ones on Sunday.
Well, I agree with Jerry. I mean, it's true, it's constitutionally true that you can take over without a general election. But in modern politics, I don't think you can get away with it anymore, because you do need some sort of contract with the voters, even the voters who didn't vote for you. On my own paper, The Observer at the time said, at the very least, you need a contest for the leadership of the Labour Party, but Gordon Brown didn't want that. Partly because then when things go wrong, or you lose other elections like these, they're going to do so badly in these Euro and local elections, Tony Blair used to do badly in midterm elections, so did Margaret Thatcher, but they could turn around and say, but we always won the big ones. You know, I was elected the last general election, and I think Gordon Brown suffered from the beginning, and I agree with Diane, he should have gone for the election in 2007. I'm sure he thinks that now.
But why shouldn't the just regular people be able to say, I want you as my prime minister, or I don't want you as my prime minister, and I know this is when you're going to have the election, period. Why is this discussion about, well, you know, maybe he'll call an election or not? Who's it for him?
Because we'd have to adopt your splendid constitution, which actually was an export from Britain brought over by Tom Paine, and we gave you a better constitution, maybe some people would argue, than we got ourselves.
But a prime minister like Anthony Eden, to go back into the mists of history, when he became a prime minister without an election, he replaced Churchill when Churchill's health finally got the better of him. He thought the best thing to do was to have an election.
Went within 6 weeks.
And he went within 6 weeks or 6 months? 6 weeks. Because he wanted the democratic legitimacy of being a prime minister, and that's your point.
I think you can overstate that argument. Part of Gordon's problem is he's come in at the fag end of the New Labour era, and a lot of problems which were backing up over the past 12 years. You asked what is the significance of these elections. They do have a significance, actually, in terms of the mood of the Parliamentary Labour Party and indirectly the mood of the Cabinet. Because if they're really, really bad, you're going to see Labour MPs panic even more than they've been panicking up to now.
I mean,
Well, I'll just make this point.
Can I just find